moi c'est Da, donc en fait, c'est un plaisir encore pour m'avoir aujourd'hui. Hein. Et c'est toujours un plaisir pour moi avec vous, bien sûr. Donc en fait, segment nous portons pour aujourd'hui, hein, en fait, nous portons un segment qui est pour le faire avec Women in General. Et nous avons parlé des filles, et nous avons parlé de Women of Color, and particularly Haitian Women. Dans le dernier segment que nous avons fait, in our last video, we've talked about how to trim down your expenses. And I think in this particular video, we want to take the opportunity to pretty much tackle women of color, and particularly Haitian women. Comment nous sommes capables de faire, nous-mêmes les femmes haïtiennes, et pour nous capables plus ou moins, comme thème a dit, empower ourselves. Bon, en fait, je pense qu'il est extrêmement important que pour nous toujours, nous-mêmes filles, et puis particulièrement les femmes haïtiennes, il est toujours bon pour nous mettre tête en position. Et côté nous capables, c'est ce qu'on appelle financially sustainable. Et qui ça me veut dire par ça? Et ça me veut dire par ça, nous toujours supposés mettre tête en position côté nous capables d'occuper tête, nous pas obligés de dépendre des monde. Et il y a une chose que nous capables de dire, et nous croyons que, il y a un pile de recherche qui est faite, et qui prouvait que women in general tend to be behind or suffer in the financial spectrum when it comes to financial things, so to speak. So why is that? Parce qu'il y a un tas de raisons qui fait majorité fois et filles toujours behind in the financial spectrum. One of the reasons que nous sommes capables d'accord avec moi, malgré nous vivons dans un temps qui est très moderne, et donc en fait, d'ordinaire majorité compagnie vraiment, et ils n'ont pas payé filles et même gens qui ont payé garçons. Et que moi-même, opinion par moi, je pense qu'il est beyond absurd. Parce que moi, je crois que mon fille, que les garçons, si les mêmes gens ont la même expérience, les mêmes critères, les mêmes qualifications, et ils produisent l'exact same result in terms of performance, I just cannot imagine why that a company would be willing to pay a man more than a woman. But again, sadly, maybe related going back to history 200 something years ago, back in the colonial period. So we don't really want to get into that. Now, nous sommes capables de savoir que it's a fact of life that you do pay garçons plus que filles, et malgré filles, hein, parfois, it can even be better que garçons. Mais c'est comme ça, la même société en est, et nous espérons que au fil des temps, et ça a pour changer, et nous voulons que pour ça changer. Et comme on dit encore, to me, I think it's absurd that, you know, there's such a big disparity, there's such a big gap in terms of wages or salary when it comes to men and women who are actually performing the exact same job, same qualifications, same education, same criteria. It just does not make sense to me. But at the same time, like I said again, we really don't want to get into that because that's a whole ball of wax in itself. Now, qui ça nous capable de faire nous-mêmes filles et pour nous réellement empower ourselves, c'est-à-dire mettre tête en position côté nous capable financially sustainable. The first thing you ladies, I'm sorry, need to do is educate yourself. Moi-même personnellement, moi je crois que l'éducation c'est clé parce que automatiquement que vous avez une éducation, vous avez une qualification, you have some skills and nous obligés de dire encore some marketable skills, then vous êtes capable de compter avec quel que soit le monde ou avec moi. Et très important, so you need to go to school, you need to better yourself, constantly improving yourself from a skills or whatever perspective in order for you to make yourself marketable so this way you can compete. Parce que c'est un premier point qui est important que you ladies can do, particularly Haitian women. Ou avec moi. Donc, on a un petit bagage que nous voulons attacher. Et nous-mêmes, femmes, nous toujours un petit gens plus souffrir, et plus particulièrement parce que majorité fois vraiment, you ladies take time from work. In other words, you remove yourself from the workforce, not so much voluntarily, but there are times where certain things happen that you have no options but to take off. And one of the example, which is a perfect example that I can give you, obviously, you ladies, you give birth. So c'est nous-mêmes qui fait timoun. Automatiquement, que nous tombons en pleine ceinture. Donc, obligatoirement, on nombre d'états, nous ne pouvons pas travailler encore. Donc, c'est-à-dire que nous sommes obligés de détacher tête nous des workforce. Et pendant ce temps que nous ne pouvons pas travailler comme nous connaissons, c'est-à-dire nous ne pas contribuer, le moins de contribuer, nous ne pas contribuer dans le retirement, nous ne pas contribuer dans Social Security, for example. Parce que comme nous tous connaissons, et Social Security vraiment que le travail, donc c'est-à-dire que tout le temps fait plus comme c'est comme ça que vous-même, personnellement, d'arriver dans l'âge pension, il y a beaucoup plus d'argent. Mais les mêmes filles, par exemple, they detach herself from the workforce, c'est soit pour faire un petit monde, ou de préférence pour élever famille, ou de préférence, to take care of a loved one, could be a parent, a sibling, or whatever the case may be. So you guys end up suffering because of your good hearts. You ladies are suffering. So, parce que c'est une raison capable plus ou moins back up the study that have been going over and over the course of the years that prove that women tend to be suffer and women tend to be behind in the financial spectrum. So, très, très, très important. Et on a un petit bagage encore que nous voulons attaquer tout petit côté ou même fille pour capable plus ou moins empower yourself. When you live with your significant other, whether it's I don't know, a boyfriend, a fiance, husband to be, whatever the scenario, you really need to be involved in the financial decision making process. What do I mean by that? Some of it pretty much is that pas quand people quitter c'est par exemple c'est boyfriend ou c'est fiancé ou c'est mari ou qui fait tout donc et c'est involved. When I mean involved, in case if for example your husband is not around, then you should be able to take the ball by the horn and courir avec lui ou avec moi. Même là, par exemple, you're not very, very savvy in terms of all the financial things that are going on in your household, but at least you need to have the basic knowledge enough to be able to know when and how much is the mortgage payment. You need to have the basic knowledge to at least know when this bill is due and how to call the company, whatever if there's an error, to have it, fixed, whatever the case may be. So those are the things that we are talking about. Oftentimes, particularly in our Haitian community, nous aimons d'amis plus ou moins la tout en fait, nous capables de walls are to their significant other and they're not involved too much. And then automatically when I go back to présenter, and like I said again, oftentimes people change and people do change. Your husband can have a change of heart and he decides to take his own way, and you just want to make sure you put yourself in a position, better yet, you have the marketable skills or have the education or whatever the case may be in order for you to survive. Now, we're not talking about you being, let's say, a big shot or whatever the case may be. And if the opportunity comes for you to be the big shot, be it. Nothing is wrong with that. But what we are saying, though, is for you at least to have the minimum resources required to be at least to be survive, at least to survive, the survival skills, so to speak. Very, very important. And I tell you one thing, believe it or not, it's not like I'm contre garçon, c'est pas la question du tout. I'm a very realistic guy, and when I talk, I try so much to talk about facts. Ou avec même, essayer de parler des facts. Donc, moi, je crois que vraiment, les par exemple, les disent en position vraiment, côté the husband is the boss, the leader of everything, then you guys suffering because by the time the guy is, if they choose to, let's say, leave, I'm saying leave for lack of a better words, if they decided to move on or if they have a change of heart, then you know what, dog, like I said again, if you really don't have the skills, you're very naive when it comes to certain things, you suffer. You want to put yourself in a position where you have all the latest marketable skills possible in order to survive because you need that. You just don't want to depend on someone 100%. Nothing is wrong with depending on your husband. Nothing is wrong with depending on your significant other. There's absolutely nothing wrong with depending on your fiancé. But at least if you're working and you're contributing to the household expenses, you better believe it. You better be part of the equation. You better be involved in knowing what's happening. Because oftentimes you suffer because you're not involved. And then if the guy, changes his mind and take his own route, and then here you are, and you face with all kind of obstacles in life, and oftentimes it's very hard to just get up and move on because you're so crippled, you're so paralyzed, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. One of the things that I've heard entendu très souvent, et il faut me dire ça entre parenthèses, et mesdames, ils vont dire, ah bon, si you're belle, mesdames, par contre, et ils cherchent un monde qui est wealthy, they're looking for a wealthy guy, somebody who can actually take care of them. The truth is, ladies, you don't want anybody to be taking care of you. If someone can help, that's fine. But you need to take care of your own self. Because the truth is, you may be the most beautiful lady on the block today because you're young, you're whatever. But believe it or not, if the guy is with you just because of your look or the outer side of your world, then you know what, it's bad. Because by the time, let's say 10 years down the line, you're not that so beautiful or you're not pleased to his eyes, then you know what, he'll just move on. He will move on and look for a younger chick and then next thing you know, you go on just complaining about whatever, whatever. So the most beautiful woman, in my opinion, that I think is that somebody who's really educated, who really has a brain and is non boîte. C'est ça que moi pense. Très très important. Ou avec moi. Et nous voulons toucher un autre petit point. Et nous pouvons mettre ma faire vidéo ça trop long, by the way, because like I said again, we had done a video regarding the, how to trim down your expenses. So this is more like a follow-up, which is targeting women in particular, and like I said, women of color, and particularly Haitian women. Très, 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 très important. You know, le petit point que nous voulons toucher, et nous, ça fait assez souvent, et particularly dans la communauté haïtienne, and everything else. Oftentimes, nous avons des dames qui travaillent very hard. Sometimes they have two jobs, working very, low skills job, and put their husband to law school, ou pour travailler parce que mari est très agressif ou bien il est très ambitieux et il veut gagner décrocher MBA and business management, whatever the case may be. Now, personally, I believe in collective effort. I have absolutely no problem with a particular woman who wants to work very hard to support her husband. I have no problem with that. Absolutely no problem. But I would caution you though. I think there's a problem though when you yourself, you are not in a position to take care of yourself, then going to faire des jobs, a low skill job, to be specific, pendant ce temps que pour vous et Maro dans l'école de droit, bien law school, pendant ce temps pour vous et Maro pour décrocher his MBA. The truth is, lady, by the time that the guy get his law degree or his MBA, I guarantee you he will very, very unlikely be interested in you. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to stick with you. Not all of them, though. There's always exception to the rule. But majority fois qu'on y a, même on a les mêmes qu'on a même qui seulement au niveau éducation high school, qu'on a mon même son big shot attorney, ou bien he's a businessman, an MBA, has an MBA from I don't know Harvard, Yale, whatever. But the truth is, by the time que qu'on y a les mêmes dans position qu'on y a, nous venons censé pas balancer pas niveau encore. C'est que bagay yo pas balancer. Tôt ou tard, bagay la fille dans que poisson. Parce que nous connaissons dans toute relation, nous obligés de balance. Not even relation, really. Life in general, things have to be balanced. Automatiquement, bagay la pas balancer, ça puis haut, ça puis bas, pas un problème. Donc en fait, mesdames, et comme je te promets, donc en fait, je voulais réellement target this particular video to you in particular. Empower yourself, okay? Okay, empower yourself. Be a part of the whole thing. Don't let just the guy do it. I'm not saying you have to go to your husband and say, hey, honey, you know what? I want to be the boss. That's not what I'm saying. And so what? You're the boss. Nothing is wrong with the woman being the boss and the house. That's not the point that I'm making. What I'm saying, though, is that be involved. Know what's happening. Empower yourself. Make sure you have all the marketable skills to be able to survive. Don't depend on someone 100%. Because today the person may be with you, tomorrow they may have a change of heart, they may not be, but the best thing you can do is to give yourself, to equip yourself to be able to survive in case if your husband has a change of mind. And again, thank you for watching. It was a pleasure. This is what I et que moi te gen vle parler et me souhaite que les mêmes petites vidéos ça capable plus ou moins informatif pour vous qui gen petit bagage ou capable tirer là-dedans et capable mettre en application et dans vie personnelle. C'était toujours un plaisir. Nous souhaitons que pour nous encore et non prochaine occasion. Thank you and God bless.